Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I have a very special treat for you today. We are doing a shop tour of one of the most amazing lapidary shops that I have seen. We're located here in Kennewick, Washington, which that's we're on the east side. And I'm here with Michael, and this is your amazing lapidary shop that members of the Lakeside Gem and Mineral Club and other people can newbies can come and use this and learn. And there is so much impressive machines here, and you're doing so much, so you're going to give us a little walk around tour here.
Yes.
And maybe we can start over here and we can just kind of go through it, because you have so much going on.
I have cabbing machines here. The most popular and the most sought after is the Pro Diamond Demon. The wheels that you use on here you can actually use on your faceting machine as well, so it helps keep down your cost of buying materials.
And unfortunately they're no longer made.
Unfortunately they're not, and I used to work there where they were made, and it really hurts me to see that they're not being made anymore.
If you see one of those used ever, buy it.
Buy it because they'll last you forever.
Yeah.
This is another one that the Crystalite made, and I found out they discontinued this one about 20 years also. This is called the Ringleader. And if you like the peripheral grinding wheels, it's the quietest.
Oh wow, that is so quiet.
Very quiet and easy to use. The most noise you're going to get is out of the rock you're grinding. And the thing is, that one's discontinued. The wheels on them, both the machines, the diamond laps will last you for years if you take care of them. Most people make the mistake of using feather touching on their diamond wheels, light touching and everything, and that actually hurts the diamond wheel more than if you just lean in and use it. If you dance on it, you're hitting the tip and you're actually chipping the tips off the diamond. Lean in and you're gouging through the material. It doesn't hurt the diamond. So proper use of your diamond tool is very important.
It's such a quiet machine.
Yeah.
Very cool. And your 3D printing stuff.
Yes.
So we have a lot of 3D printers here. Man, where to begin with the 3D printing?
Out of self-defense, I got tired of people coming in and telling me, I want a cabbing machine, I want a faceting machine, but they're too expensive out there. So I started figuring out how can I make it and make it differently, and I found out that there's all kinds of things you can do with a 3D printer.
So you're self-taught with all of this?
Yes, I am. And I'm to the point now where if others want a 3D printer and they just don't know how to use it, I can tie them in on what to do, what not to do, and how to repair or adjust and what have you. And there's design programs out there. One of them is called FreeCAD, and that's the one I use, and Cura for slicing and getting things ready for printing.
Do you have any advice? Because it looks like you have 4 different 3D printers here. 4 different types, is that what I see?
Well, this one here and the middle one down there, those are Anycubic, and then I've got one up here that I just got the other day, and I'm going to repair it, and it does laser printing. And the reason I got it is because with laser printing, if I'm going to be making a faceting head, I need a scale of the number of degrees. Well, with a 3D laser printer, I can print that right onto the scale, right onto the piece of material, because it's very hard to find a pattern or something to create that scale on there. The 3D printer can burn it on.
And you have a whole bunch of vintage faceting machines just laying in wait for somebody to use them.
Use them, or a museum, if they ever create a museum in Eastern Washington where they can be put in and will last for eternity, that would be great. I have from the very earliest of this one here, and that one, and I don't know what I did with the other one. They call them the bathtub Lee faceting machines.
Yeah.
They're kind of antique.
Oh, and you have a little combo unit up here.
That little combo unit, yes, I think that's a Highland Park.
I don't think I have seen one that looks exactly like that, but that's got to be from like the 60s. It looks like it's from the 60s.
60s and 70s. My first machine was a little Star Diamond combo like that, and I started grinding, and the thing is I was interested when I got into the hobby of doing Montana Star Sapphires. And I found I have a whole bunch of little sapphires. They create a beautiful lavender colored stone with a nice 6-ray star in it. Well, it's like rubbing two sticks together, because back then all you had was silicon carbide. So I really have fun now, because now that we have diamond plated metal bonded wheels, now I can really grind away on them. And the biggest one I did was a ruby from Tanzania and a sapphire from Mozambique while I was working at Crystallite. They were both over 10 pounds.
When you were working at Crystallite, is that what got you interested in lapidary, or did you go into that?
I was in the hobby way before that. My first wife died in '64 in UCLA, and I needed something to do, and I took up the hobby at that point. Started cabbing, and then in '65 I took up the hobby of faceting, and I didn't have any schooling. I went and bought a machine called the O'Brien from O'Brien Lapidary in East Hollywood. Went ahead and faceted a couple stones, and then went back in and told them, well, I needed more preforms, and she told me, get out of here. She says, you're supposed to come back for 6 months worth of lessons. You don't need any. So I bought some more preforms, and I've been cutting ever since. Since then, I've been cutting on all different machines. I knew Howard Stanley, the inventor of the Ultratech. In fact, I demonstrated his machine at a couple of shows for him. And I've had nothing but fun ever since.
In the process, you have built quite the extensive shop here. It's very impressive to see. I have a very small lapidary shop. I can only hope to eventually have something of this scale. This is impressive.
Yeah. Well, my son-in-law decided, well, if you're going to have the hobby, you need a work area. And since this is all cinder block in here, he went and put plywood on the walls, brought the electrical in, brought the shelving in and everything, so it actually set up. These tables he got from a surplus supply place here in town, a beauty shop or something going out of business. $50 a piece, and they're stainless steel tops and everything. They work great for the hobby.
That's I mean, you can only imagine what that would cost new today.
Oh, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to think about it.
So you got the 4-wheel Loratone.
I have a 4-wheel Loratone, and we never use it because almost everybody uses the Demon.
Somebody needs to start remaking that style.
Somebody needs to get a hold of Crystallite, the corporation, the abrasive company that makes the Crystallite stuff. Go after that design, get it, and put it out. I had one member come over. He had a big nodule of Brazilian agate. He ground the rind off of it, sanded it and polished it. He stood over at that other machine just like this for 4 hours and finished it, and it was really impressive. He went home and he built one. He liked it so well.
Very cool.
Other members of the club, when they could find them, they buy them up.
I've been keeping my eyes open for one of those.
It's the best machine out there. And you have the fact too, it's a noisier machine, but if you're dealing with opal, heat sensitive stones, soft stones, you can turn that speed down. If you want to polish jade, the only thing you want to polish it with is diamond at high speed. And the reason being, most polishing agents at the contact zone between the polishing agent and the surface layer on the jade, Jade being asbestos, you're not going to melt the jade that way. You get it hot enough and it'll flow the polishing agent, and then you hear the complaints, well, it looks like it's orange peel or something on the jade. Yeah, well, it's the polishing agent melted and smeared across the top of the jade. By using diamond doesn't melt.
Yeah.
So you actually get hot enough to actually flow the surface of the jade. You can get a glass polish.
I've not worked with much jade, but I will definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah. I buy the crystal pads from Crystallite. Years ago, we used to sell them for 50 cents to $1 a piece. Now they want $12 a piece, but I got to have them.
You want to turn this off, or?
Yep, just kill the button. There we go.
So then, yeah, you have
Vibra tumblers and everything.
I recently got one of those, the FL20, the lower tone.
That one there is a lower tone.
Yeah, that's what I recently picked up down there.
And they work great too, especially for your slabs, or if you want to, take a large chunk of petrified wood or something and square it off to make like bookends out of it. Oh, that works fantastic.
Big stuff. And you have a roller mill down here?
Yes, I have a silver rolling mill. Well, so far we haven't had a bench to set it up on yet. But if somebody needs to use it, we'll find a way to crank it down on something and they can use it to make their silver work.
And some of your 3D printers here.
Yeah,
do you think this is a really useful size compared to some of the larger printers?
Here's the thing. These here I can make everything. I'll show you a couple items. I can print this on there, and this is in 2 parts. All 3 of these parts can be printed. And what this is it's a lap caddy for 6-inch laps with a drawer to put your dop sticks and glue sticks and all of that stuff.
It's very, very handy. But the thing that catches my notice right here is your hoods for a small genie.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're 3D printing.
I 3D printed the pan and the hoods. And the thing was, one of the members of the club had 2 of them, but one of them didn't have any pan and shields. I was given this without the pan and shields. So I told him, well, bring a pan and shield over and I'll measure them and go to the FreeCAD and start my work. It took me about 20 minutes to come up with the pans and shield, and then I just finally discovered that, well, you'll notice they're reversed for the shield. And I found out, well, there's a little hourglass in Cura 15.4, and you click on that and it'll reverse the image.
Oh.
So I was able to reverse and print right and left hand. But it was easy to print these and they work great.
What do you say? Can we get a 3D printer? It seems so infinitely handy to have. Even just one printer would be amazing.
Well, I don't need all of those. That's the thing. I got them because now I've got other club members that want a 3D printer. And I've already debugged them, and then I can sit down with the person, show them what the adjustments are, how to keep it in tune, when something goes wrong, what to do about it, and give them a little what I've learned about FreeCAD, and I've been learning it from Kevin, the math teacher, and he helps me find, and he's still studying on it to figure out how to work that FreeCAD. But it's fantastic what you can make. So I bought all of these and got them working, and I tell them, well, if you want one, $100, it's a lot cheaper than...
Yeah. And I also see that you have a benchtop lathe and a mill drill, because do you have a background in machining? Was that entirely new for you getting into that as well, or?
How I got into that was when I was working at General Motors. On the line, we had a break period of 6 months for model changeover. We were changing over to the Firebirds and Camaros. Well, I had to do something, and they says, well, you can get a little extra benefits on the side on your temporary layoff if you go to adult education. So I went to adult education, and actually I ended up doing as much as the teacher was doing. It just came naturally to me.
Can we go look at your mill drill?
Yeah. To give you an idea, sometimes you can't get parts and equipment that you want.
Yeah.
I ended up here.
So
I needed a V-block. I needed a V-block for my lathe, and this one was too wide. This one sat too high. So I beat that wrap. I 3D printed one.
Yeah.
And it does the same thing.
What do you think of the Grizzlies as a brand? Have you been happy with them?
Yes, I have. And when I had problems, this one here, I had motor problems with it. Mm-hmm. We contacted them. They sent another motor out. It was no effort at all to go in there and replace it. Full instructions and everything.
I used to have a Grizzly lathe, and they're very handy having a benchtop lathe.
Well, I've got all kinds. I've even got this little Unimat, which is the Edistall lathe. And then I've got another one sitting up there on the shelf up there that anybody can get, and they're like $100 from...
I think I've only ever seen photos of these. That's so...
Yes.
they're so little.
Yes, this makes into a lathe and a milling machine. So you can set it up either way for whatever you want to do.
Very handy to have, especially in a shop like this.
Yeah, well, see, I do a lot of hole drilling and tapping with that. I just wish I had power crossfeed, and I was trying to go to a bigger chuck. That's why I have that old other lathe over there, combo lathe. I have people asking me for 8-inch 10 laps. I don't make the 8-inch, I make my 6-inch, only because this is the way I have to put it on there and machine it. So you tighten it down on there. So I can't grip it by the outside edge. I went and bought a 5-inch chuck.
Not gonna.
And it will hold it on the outside by reversing these. But they said, well, they sent me a great big plate and said, well, you have to machine this down to fit this. Well, how am I going to machine that on that machine? It doesn't work that way.
You got to find somebody with a bigger lathe for that one.
See? So that was kind of a dumb thing on their part, but I've got the chuck now if I can just come up with a back plate for it.
So we were already kind of talking about this. I'm very impressed by your little homemade saw here and your vise.
Yeah.
3D printed.
You want to see something that's even more interesting?
Yes, please.
Here. This is a 4-inch trim saw, completely 3D printed. $15 worth of plastic.
Very cool. Yeah. And that's so what's the motor? You have a little tiny DC motor there?
Nope, that's a little AC motor.
Oh wow.
That's a motor out of a Eureka vacuum cleaner that turns the brushes. It's 120 volt AC, but I found out it also works on DC in one direction only. So I can use it for variable speed too.
Man, you have there's so much going on.
There's another one over there I've just started working on.
Can we go? Let's go look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this one's made so I can lift that tray off.
You just have a couple of bearings pressed in there.
Yep. And all I have to do is drop the motor in there and connect.
Very cool.
This is homemade.
So you're making faceting machines, which I find to be so impressive.
Out of self-defense, and people want faceting machines. I made this one here. This one is light. You could actually pick it up with one hand. And it'll handle 6-inch. It'll handle anything. You can move that way back. This is the same platform here. This,
you have a stereo microscope. It's a very handy thing to have.
Yeah, that belongs to the club for them to examine their materials if they need to.
I like those ones that are on the boom like that.
Yeah. This one's kind of awkward because the boom positions are not quite what I would enjoy to use. This here should have been made flexible too. To give you an idea, feel the weight of that.
Oh wow. And what material is this?
Mozambique sapphire. That's solid sapphire.
That's impressive.
And I'm making a snuff bottle out of it. You can do carving, almost anything. This I made a few years ago. This is Chinese jadeite.
Okay.
Snuff bottle, and it's totally hollow.
Very cool. And you have a vacuum forming? Because are you actively doing silversmithing, or is that something you used to do, or?
We do it when we need to around here. But normally I don't do much of anything in silver anymore. But if a member wants to do something, I can show them how to go about it on here, and they can cast their own ring. They can design their own ring. I got wax here for them to do that with too. Lots
of material just floating around here as well.
Oh, tons of it. Give you an idea for wax molding. One of the members donated all of those.
Oh my gosh.
So if somebody finds a ring in there that they like and they want it to cast, we can size it, then cast it. They can finish it off and then put their stone in it. This box here is all full of sapphire.
Oh, wow.
You got that set up for is that a core drill bit? A little tiny core drill bit I see there?
That's a regular hole drill, but I have core drills clear up to wrist size for making bracelets if you wanted to. I even make 3D printed stands.
And there's a lot of different options for.
See here?
That's perfect.
For displaying things.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different filaments for 3D printing, and you're just using. Are you only using PLAs?
Basically PLA, because that's the easiest one to use. Really. And I facet everything, even Ellensburg blue.
Oh my gosh.
This is sunstone. That's that ruby that you had picked up. These are all topaz. The bottom two towards me, 2 rows, those are Brazilian, plus the other blue ones in there. This, where my thumb is here, around and up to that triangular one right here. Those are all Pakistan material. And then from there all the way up around, other than this one and this one, those are all from Mexico materials.
And the ruby is this stuff?
Yes.
Synthetic?
Yes. In fact, I have one party that has one up on here that he's been cutting. That yag, this is my own cut, and it seems to work on everything.
Oh wow.
That's really pretty.
Very beautiful.
That comes out, and topaz. Let's see. Here's a topaz done in that.
That's great.
Nobody else has this cut. I've made it, and then I give it out to whoever wants to cut with it. Doing free-form shapes and stuff like that is recommended. You don't want to cut something that's already in a jewelry store.
Yeah. Make something unique. Make something...
That has more value. That's an O'Brien portable up there. You can see the little hex-headed part there. That machine is from the late 40s into the 50s into about mid, I'd say about 68, and that was the end of it. Dan O'Brien passed away and his son took over, and his mother ran the Lapidary store, and he did the classes in the back.
Mm-hmm. You need to do an extension on the garage, have your own faceting machine museum.
Oh yeah, I wish I could do that.
Yeah, it's just I'm a little it's definitely a little overwhelming. I knew this was a very like well thought out, well built out shop with a lot of machines, but to like see it in person, it's, I mean, how many faceting machines are here?
I have these two here. There's 4 Raytex, and basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Ultratechs, 4 Raytex Shaws. There's an American faceter over there. There's these 2 home builts plus that one over there. That one there was made for the neighbor next door. You see that one?
That one that's on the end of your bench here?
Yeah. We just made that with along, like I tell people, if they want a machine, I'll help them make one.
I actually got to make one.
Yeah,
It's almost exactly like that one.
yeah. And
But I still
this is an old Lee faceting head. The only part of this that I got was this. Uh-oh.
I'm very interested in, so you have the little Lortone combo unit and your replacement vise, I think it's such a fascinating and handy little thing to be able to have.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I see these things go for sale on like Craigslist and Facebook all the time, and they're always missing the vise. The vise is never with it.
So if they get a hold of me, I can get them a vise.
Yeah. And for people that maybe live, let's say, on the East Coast, do you make your files available if somebody has a 3D printer?
Files? No, but I can make it for them and send it, and that vise is probably about $10, $15.
And that just rides. Can you take the hood off of those? So for anybody that hasn't seen one of these are great little units for somebody that's maybe just a beginner. They're a great little beginner unit. Oh. They're great little beginner units, and they're very handy to have. And typically you don't see them with the vise. You might actually have the rod for it, but people take them off all the time, sell their units, and the vise stays in a box or on a shelf somewhere.
I have a new member of the club. She's in Othello, Barbie or BJ, and she has one of these, and she didn't have a vise. So she's kind of the one that clued me into sitting down and make it. This took me about 25 minutes to design and make.
Yeah, 3D printing, the way of the future, I guess. Well, the way of the present.
Well, the thing is, as I understand now, that even some of the elementary schools and mid schools have 3D printers in there, and the kids could see how 3D printing works. And if you think about the old-fashioned Star Trek Next Generation and their machine that gives them coffee and food and everything, well, we're headed there. 3D printing is the leading edge of that.
It does feel a little unreal to just hit the send button on a computer and parts materialize. You have a vise now, you know.
Well, you can go on, and you can go on search engine or even on eBay, and you can get designs that you want to print out. The dragon egg over there was one that was on the internet, and Yoda was on the internet. In fact, on Yoda, I found out that when I called it into the Kira program, I was able to. There's a middle hourglass in there that says size, and and I clicked on that, and it said, okay, this is 1.0 size. I said, interesting. What if I change that to 2? Well, now I got a Yoda that's 3 times bigger. So you can do a lot of different things with them.
Yeah.
See, I made this caddy here. And I made the little block to hold the dops in.
Versus the old school wooden way.
Yep. And then I also want to 3D print my master laps. So I can make the 10 laps.
And you're 3D printing transfer jigs here.
Transfer jigs, yes, and 45-degree dops for doing the table on a stone. And to give you an idea, the plastic, this is plastic and everything, okay? The weight on it, when I see the price tag, here,
Oh.
when I see the price tag that they want for a dop, if that was all plastic, you got 27 grams at 3 cents a gram.
That's very
74 cents to make this.
You're not making that out of aluminum for 74 cents.
So you can see how easy it is to make something to sell. And the cheapest one I've seen is like $79 from Greece with a $34 mailing price on it. Yeah. I sent one of these. I have to give you an example. Back in a few months ago, I got contacted by a Sue Goldman. She's in New York, and they have a club there with about 80 members. They have a workshop. They had 7 faceting machines, one Ultratech, and a bunch of the models like that went up in the corner, and no facetors. So her and the president went out, took a class, and paid a lot for it. They ended up contacting me for more information. Well, I sent her one of these, and they're using them now for their machines because they didn't have one like that. And I can make it in other sizes because here's the little mini one, because some of those machines, like the foreign machines out there, have those little short dop sticks. Got to keep it busy, keep it going. I don't want here's the thing, I don't want to see the hobby die, and it's dying. So unless we all get together and do something about it, it's going to go down the drain, and it's too much fun to just let it die out.
It's a lot of fun getting into this. I've certainly enjoyed my own own shop, my own kind of process of getting into lapidary and learning about all of it. I mean, it's a fascinating hobby to get into.
And the thing is if you don't do something about it and it dies, then there's a lost art.
Agreed.
And it's an art that anybody can learn, anybody can do. If they have a little bit of patience and not in a big hurry, they can have a ball, and they can bring out their own creativity in it. You could, in faceting, I've got people that do their own designs and what have you, and it's been a ball.
So, since you've been doing lapidary for so long, and you have such a extensive shop here,
58 years.
Is there any, what are some of the machines that you would recommend against? Because it's great to be able to see the machines that people currently have and people like and suggest, but have there been any that have passed through here that you would just like entirely avoid getting again?
Yeah, the Yamahashi faceting machine. I think we got a person there that can answer that question for you. She's been fighting it to learn how to use it. It's very usable. It's usable as both a cabber and a faceter, but you've got to get used to that machine. It's not a lot of fun until you master it. So that's the problem there. But as far as I've used just about every kind of machine around that I can get my hands on and use, and I have no complaints. You get what you need out of it, and that's about it. But as far as recommendations of the best machines, well, a lot of them aren't made anymore. It's down the drain, so it's, can you find one and get it and put it back into use?
I mean, I get reached out to often by people that are looking at picking up an old used machine,
Yeah.
you know, either a faceting machine or even just a saw, and it can be a big problem if it's not all there. For somebody that doesn't do machine restoration, if you don't have the ability to, you know, have a lathe and make parts, like, I see that you have a, is that an 18-inch saw back there?
Yes, it is.
So, I mean, even with these, if you're missing a bunch of components to a saw like that, it's a problem.
It's a nightmare.
Yes, it's not for the amateur to chase down parts for machines that are no longer made.
Yeah. That's why I ended up, especially on the faceting machines, the fact that a lot of the machines out there, there's no more parts made for them. And then the ones that are still being made, the manufacturers just can't keep up with their production.
Lead times are insane.
Way out, so I try to help out there too. So I make components to fill in. And then, like I say, if somebody wants a custom faceting machine, we can play around and make those too.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, man. There's just there's so much to look at in here.
Well, in some cases, pieces need to be pressed together. My son-in-law made this.
Yeah,
It's a press.
I was admiring your homemade press here.
Yeah, there's so many things you can do. That's simple.
And here's your other lathe.
Yes. This one I'm hoping to figure out how to get this chuck off of here. And this one here, I got enough room. Maybe I can put that 5-inch chuck or an 8-inch chuck on there to do the bigger laps.
Very cool.
I've had that for years. That came from Harbor Freight when I was down in California, and I don't even know if they sell these anymore.
Yeah, Harbor Freight doesn't make stuff like this.
Not anymore. No. Most of Harbor Freight stuff is made in China anyway.
Yeah. Man, is there any other thing that we should look at while we're here?
I don't know. It's what your curiosity is.
I mean, I would love to know more about your homemade faceting machine, because that's not something that anybody really does.
Make all kinds of them. Plus, I make arbors for the, machines. I made the arbor for hers and the splash pan and everything.
Yeah,
the only thing we have...
Can we talk about the splash pans that you've been making?
Yeah.
So, do you have the original one that came with this?
Yes, that's this.
That's the rubber one.
No, that was this beast here.
So that's what, a piece of acrylic. It's all just made out of acrylic.
Yep.
And then injection molded outside.
Yep. And I 3D printed it. And again, you can lift this ring off when you're ready to do 90 degrees, and you put this ring on. Come on. Yep, we're down in there. There we go. You got your opening to get in there to the lap for polishing or what have you, or cutting or doing your... And if you had one of these and you decide you want it a little wider, you just take this to a bandsaw and trim it off. And then you don't want to be using it, you just drop it down there like that and put your other ring back on. And this fits on both of them. And then I also made some pan covers to fit the rubber pan there. I don't even know what I did with them. Let me see if I can find one. I got covers all over the place. Nope. I got stuff all over these shelves. Half the stuff I can't even find anymore. But I have a printed pan cover. This one here will probably, let's see, that rubber pan. You know, if they never change the pan, something like this, to fit down in there like that, keeps your splatter down. They don't even think of that. The thing is the Joe's son is in the factory running it, Joe Rubin, and I sent pictures of this stuff to him, and he said, hey, yeah, we were thinking about a 3D printer too. And so when I had it complete and everything and on the machine, I sent pictures to Joe and his son, and that's when I got disowned. That simple.
Yeah.
And all machines, to give you an idea, up here, you see the black pan on there? Mm-hmm. That's the typical pan for that version of the Lee machine. The old version was that plastic shield sitting up there that fits down inside, and that was the shield for the 6-inch Lee model. Well, the thing is, I printed that pan there. It fits down in there. It can replace that black pan there, and that one has the same features as this, including a cover. This fits right down inside. So if anybody needs it for their Lee machine, they get a hold of me. Okay?
It's perfect. Yeah.
See? Well, this one here needs to be expanded. You just heat it up with a hairdryer and it'll put back the ring on it. But
These are some of your stones up here.
yep,
Are all of these done by you that are up here?
yes. But I can make these for any machine, any faceting machine. Make up my own motors and stuff there. I have motors for all the different machines that I want to make up. Mm-hmm. Again, master lap, 3D printed.
An impressive pile of
Motors
there.
Yeah. Here's another thing that is not out there that a lot of the people don't think about and are not aware of. I take this plastic like this and put that angle in there, and this makes a nice splash shield, even for the rubber bucket ones. When you pull that rubber down, you get splash all over the place out here, all over the counter and everything. Well, by having this shield around it, you stop that. Well, now here, as an example, on this is that 1/8 inch. It's 8 inches by 12 inches. When you are at a show, she's standing here watching me demonstrate a machine. Mm-hmm. Okay, if I run it this way with this pan down like this, I'm going to get splattered. You're going to look at that. I don't think I want that hobby. It's a little bit messy. And if I leave it the other way, you're going to get splashed. That's not very good either, and you're going to see the mess all over the table. So by having this on there, it collects all the splattering.
Yeah.
And then not only that, I can lift this off and take it and clean it and put it back down in there, and I 3D printed.
You just got some little 3D printed brackets here.
In there. Yep. There we go.
Very cool.
And that collects the splatter here. It's not all over the place, and keeps the mess down. This is something everyone who has a Raytech could have on their machine.
Yeah. Very
simple.
Very simple. Simple and useful. And you've 3D printed your own
Drip buckets.
drip buckets?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just to keep the dust out of there so you don't get contamination. And
Very cool.
like I say, I have every kind of machine around here, including, there's a diamond faceting head. Diamond tang, as they call it.
Yeah. So much stuff all over the place to look at here.
Oh yeah. Motor speed controllers down there for, did you notice what's in between the motors and the motor speed controller?
Where am I looking here?
On the shelf.
Wow.
You see that?
Yeah, that's a big Ellensburg blue, isn't it?
That is a big Ellensburg blue, about the second biggest one anybody's aware of.
That's beautiful.
They used to have a jeweler in Desert Gems down in downtown Kennewick, and he was a man that liked to do articles on he was writing a book on Ellensburg. And I took that in and showed it to him, and he told me, he says, that's the second largest one, because he saw the largest one he was aware of. And he says, this one's just a hair bit smaller than that one. And he wanted pictures of it because he wanted to include it in his book.
There's some really big ones in the museum in Ellensburg, but I don't even think they're that large.
No, they're not.
No, but
and the thing is the true Ellensburg came from Tenaway, or Teanaway, up there. Came down glacier melt, down deposited through the valley. And there was a fellow down in the Yosemite, in a little town at the entrance of Yosemite Park, that had a rock shop there, and he used to come up here and go in there and collect all this stuff. That's where that one came from. He got it up there.
Yeah, that's an impressive one for sure.
A lot of weight, I'll tell you.
Well, I think, have we seen everything in here? I think we've
Just about.
We may have seen it all. Man, it's thank you so much for allowing us to come here and view your shop.
All the things that you can make at home. This plexiglass saw you could make. Just order yourself a sheet of plexiglass and cut it and trim it out. It even has a motor back here and motor mount.
Thank you so much for showing all of us this amazing shop. It's something to aspire to. I need my own shop of this caliber.
It's a lot of fun, and it gets used.
Yes.
And more so in the last year, because people are now, since we're able to get back and have shows. We had our show at the fairgrounds, and then we had a spot at the regular fair. We had a booth there, and people were coming in and seeing what we had and what we do, and they really started getting interested. Because the average person out there has always picked up a little rock from somewhere, and they got a little collection at home in the garden or something and don't know what to do with it. Well, now they're becoming aware, and we're trying to get that awareness out there. Hey, come to the club meetings in your area. Talk with those people. Get introduced to the hobby. If you're in this region here and you don't have a machine and you want to try something out, you got a piece of rock, you want to see how it's cut, come to our meeting, get introduced, or come here.
I'm going to put down below in the description box of the video some information about the Lakeside Gem and Mineral Club.
Yes,
so people
please.
can always find out about
Yes.
it, and they can come see this place.
Yeah.
for
Like I
themselves.
said, our youngest faceting student was Nadine Marshall. If you look her up on the internet, I got I Love Green Rocks on Instagram. You'll be surprised.
I'll put a link down to her Instagram as well.
Yeah, and she's got quite a following there, and she's started out. She's actually earned enough money to buy her a brand new V5, and she's trying to earn the money. She wants to become a certified GIA gemologist, where she can identify and appraise stones. So this 12-year-old girl has quite a future ahead of her now. This young girl over here that started her stone, her mother keeps pushing her, but if she becomes aware and decides to take on to it, she could be another Nadine.
By the way, a V5 is not a cheap machine to buy.
No,
new.
it's not. No, $5,200. Yeah. So she earned a lot of money from her cutting. She cut for importers and what have you. She even, and I think last year, she was at a booth at one of the big importer wholesalers and working in the booth. So she earned money in there. So at one point, she earned enough money cutting and selling her stones to help another family through a crisis by donating money to them so that they could go through a crisis.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So there's what happens.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having us. We very much so appreciate it. And once again, I'll put all that contact info down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.